Senator Ossoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Mr. Vought. A lot of mistakes getting made in federal personnel management. Hundreds of National Nuclear Security Administration employees, those are the folks, as I think you know, who safeguard America's fissile material, fired. You had to scramble to hire them back for obvious reasons. That was a mistake, right?
Senator, I'm here on behalf of a rescissions package.
Well, you're here to answer questions that senators want to ask you. It was a mistake to fire hundreds of people responsible for the safety of America's nuclear stockpile, and a mistake that you had to remedy by scrambling to rehire them. It's okay to acknowledge mistakes, Mr. Vought.
I think those questions are better posed to the agency heads that
But
made
I'm posing
decisions.
it to you, Mr. Vought.
Again,
Was it a
I'm here to
mistake?
I'm here to testify on the decisions that I've been a part of and to send
You're the budget director.
the rescissions package.
You're the
that-
budget director. Was it a
aware- I am
mistake
aware of
to
that.
fire hundreds of people responsible for safeguarding America's nuclear stockpile? It was, because the administration had to scramble to rehire them, right? It was a mistake.
Senator, the
You fixed it.
administration went through a very extensive Department of Government Efficiency process that was very dynamic. Cabinet heads were making the final determinations, and they made adjustments where they felt they needed to.
Was it?
But I'm going to let
what
them
about
explain those decisions.
Hundreds of Food and Drug Administration medical device reviewers and food safety reviewers fired, I guess, accidentally, and then rehired. A mistake, right?
I'm going to let the cabinet secretaries explain the decisions and what was going on. I don't have the information to give you a sense of the granularity of every one of those decisions.
Were you not aware, for example, until this hearing, that the nuclear safety workforce had been gutted and then that decision had to be reversed? Is this the first you're hearing about that?
Senator, I'm aware of many things and the extent to which the
asking if you-
Department
this
of Government
isn't-
Efficiency
it's not-
was involved with a lot of work to make sure that we were operating government as efficiently as is possible.
Okay. You know what
And
would be
the extent to
what
which
would be very simple is just, yes, that was a mistake to fire hundreds of people responsible for safeguarding America's nuclear stockpile. Take credit for fixing the mistake. Hundreds of National Weather Service employees fired, scrambling to rehire them. It's a mistake. I met, Mr. Vought, a gentleman in Georgia about a month and a half ago whose son is an astrophysicist, recently trained by an elite U.S. university. I mean, these are the folks that we really need serving the American people, who had just been hired by the federal government and was summarily terminated, not on the basis of any individualized determination about his performance, but simply because he was a probationary employee who is now working in Beijing. You guys are making mistakes, and I want to focus on the mistakes that you're making at the CDC. Have you visited the CDC, Mr. Vought, by chance?
I have not.
It is the flagship epidemiological and public health agency for the country and indeed for the world.
That even the
as
Biden
you know.
administration felt the
And
need to
you have
reform.
you have now fired or tried to fire nearly a quarter of the workforce, correct?
Senator, are you suggesting the CDC performed well in the last pandemic?
I asked you whether you have fired or tried to fire a quarter of the CDC
I
workforce.
can't answer the question because I
Okay,
don't
well,
have
you
the facts in front of me. That's
You
the
have
CDC
fired or
director's,
tried to fire
information to give
nearly
you.
a quarter of the CDC workforce, and your budget request for FY26 would cut the CDC budget in more than half, correct?
The Center for Disease
No,
Control was
answer the
in-
question.
They were incompetent.
Answer the question, Mr.
last
Vought.
pandemic.
Does your
The
budget
Biden- we
request
certainly cut
seek to cut by more than half the CDC budget?
We certainly seek to cut and reduce
By
the
more than
CDC.
half the CDC budget.
The
Listen,
extent to
Mr. Vought,
which-
you need to come to Georgia and visit the
Happy to.
CDC. Good. We'll make that happen because you are destroying this institution. And whatever criticism you have about their past performance, they are essential to public health and epidemiological defense in the United States. You're crushing morale, you're crushing capability, and you're destroying my constituents' lives. And I am grateful for the commitment you've made to come to Georgia and visit the CDC and sit down with those employees. Thank you,
Senator,
Madam
the Biden
Chair.
administration
I don't want to
proposed
hear about the
reform.
Biden administration.
did.
You're here on behalf of the Trump administration.
The witness is allowed to answer the question. The time, however, has expired, but would you like 30 seconds to answer the question?
I would just point out, Senator, that the Biden administration thought the need to put forward a reform proposal because of the performance of CDC in their performance in the global pandemic of COVID. The CDC can be and should be reformed. Our budget reflects that. I look forward to coming to Georgia to visit CDC.
I look forward